squish too much. So this opens them up really nicely. Help me put this in there. And because the beans are a good size, they're not going to go through. Just a lot of your compost is going to go through. And then you can just take this off the top. You go, oh, there's no beans in there. Great. And if there are, it'll come out in the end. And then just throw this down there. And then we'll run it through that machine. But first you got to get the dry stuff.
Okay, go for it.
No beans in there. Whoops, maybe. So this is a dry seed process.
Oh, and the dead cat.
There's one other home equipment that I didn't set up, and it goes on a block or a stool, and it's a cardboard box with a box fan, just one of those store-bought fans about this wide, and you set the fan up behind the box, so you put a cardboard box in front of your fan on a table or a bench, and then you put a bin under it, and you hold something above the box while the fan's on and drop it, especially for these. All the chaff will go to the front and your beans will drop down in front. So this machine right here, this is a zigzag seed separator, and it works on most crops. Like I've been able to do everything on it. I only use the zigzag when I have larger lots and I don't want to spend that much time jumping in that little funnel. This machine is called a Winnow Wizard, and before I turn it on, I'll tell you a little bit about it. It operates on wind that blows from this blower, and Markel is the fellow and these are the screen separators, so if I was to do a small seed, these are heavier seeds, so I don't need to block as much wind. So then, and in the manual, so if anyone wanted to use it, you know, we do have the knowledge to put in the right screen and all that, but yeah. So this one would just, for beans, you don't need anything but air because they're so heavy they're going to fall through. So you would never take that one out because then if anything gets back up in your fan, that wouldn't be good. And then I got the kind that has an agitator. If you wanted to step up here and take a look in there, it's got a motor on it so that when the seeds fed into the hopper, it goes around and stirs it up and helps it come down more evenly, or you would just stand up there and kind of help it go along as it went. And then the tray that it falls onto has a vibrating motor installed on it so that it also shakes it so it comes down a little evenly. And it has 3 different adjustments, so if you have a smaller seed that you want to slow down or bigger seed you want to slow down, you can adjust the angle on it super easy style. You just move that cable. Yeah. So then you put the seed up in here, which you can fill this up. That was pathetic, but you always make sure the power's on first, and you make sure it's plugged in.
You wouldn't do this for tomato seeds. This is just for bigger seeds.
Tomato is a wet seed, so this is all for dry seed. These are only for dry seed. Wet seed's always done with water. And they've actually taken pumpkins and made a sluice box, so you operate it with the hose on top, and then you have these little dividers in between, and then so you're running water down and all the meat and pulp goes off and all the seeds get stuck into these little channels. So if you're doing like field production of, you know, couple hundred, maybe a half acre of some kind of squash, you just set up a rig with a sluice and your seed cleaning goes way faster. So this is small scale, like in a field that most seed farmers are putting in production fields, it's like acres. They're not talking rows, they're talking acres. So they'll have a combine which drives in, harvests, throws it up, threshes it, and spits it out the back. And then they take that to be cleaned. And then it has 2 speeds, and with a heavier seed, you'll want to put it on high, or with a lighter seed, you put it on low. And then this mechanism, it's got 2 fancy plugs right here, and you plug this one in and it operates the turning, and you put this one in and it operates the, so the beans are going to fall straight down and the chaff is going to come off. And there's gauges here where you want to set this at so many inches, which I didn't do. So the best seed will come straight down, the next best seed will go here, and everything else will go out that way. Do you know how arugula goes to seed in pods, like the brassica? It goes to seed in these little tiny pods. Like, you can't even see them anymore. There they were. See them? Just take a few of these in through here, and that'll get rid of the big stuff, and the little seeds will go through because the screen's the right size. And if it doesn't, you can go through another size.
Oh my gosh.
Can you hear them? Can you see them in the corner there? Oh, there they go.
Oh yeah.
To go through these screens like that, and then when it's like this, I send it through there. So in this machine here, we can do it with everything because it's big enough. Just to show, this bug wants to close me. Earplugs on because, and this little thing right here is to regulate how much suck, because the vacuum is now going to be sucking, and as I draw this or pour my seed in here, the heavy seed will come down, and it depends on how much air I let it, if all my seed will come over to this side or if it'll come down here. So because it's little seed, I want this open a little bit more to see how many are going to fall in that bucket opposed to this side. And there's a design for this machine online. If you guys can't find it, I have the information. So then you put your bin underneath of it and you start dropping your seed over the top with the fan running. All the chaff will come forward and the seed will fall forward, straight down. It's and the women used to do all this. There's a winnowing, not winnowing basket, but a sifting basket. That's made out of materials that grow here. And the materials are inside the basket. There's willow that are wrapped up. Those sticks are willow, and the red bud is cordage from those shrubs that grow as you're driving up the driveway, the California red bud. So, and then the stick from the red bud is what you make that cord out. Important things about storing your seed is consistency. So if you live in an environment that has 70 degrees, pretty constant, 70 to no higher than 80, no lower than 40, pretty constant, but it's not like the ideal. There is an ideal, is like in 30, I think 38 to 56 is ideal. I wrote the numbers, yeah, did you see my note, honey? Yeah. So it's but consistency is more important than ideal. Because for me, on that north slope, I'm going to dig a root cellar, and then I'll really start to store my seeds at the right temperature. So ideally 15 Celsius to 17 Celsius is a good, that's the temperature you want to keep them all the time. But who lives in a situation like that? That's an underground situation or a all kept situation, or a cooler part of the house that only gets, light a half a minute every day or something. So consistency, I can't say it enough, is more important than the ideal temperature. And moisture, the humidity and temperature should be consistent.
So it's like not next to a bathroom, because then it would be humid sometimes, dry sometimes. And they can imbibe moisture even through the glass jars. Glass jars are the best containers to put them in, and seal tight the mason jars, but bugs can get in them too. A good thing to keep bugs out is the munmuni and wormwood. It's called wormwood. The Maidu call it munmun, and I picked some with seed heads on for each of you to take home and maybe sprinkle around your yard and see if it comes up. I don't know if it will. I dug mine out from Nevada City and brought it up and planted it. I planted it all over. I know where it is, and I brought it home because where it grows here is down on our creek. On our watershed is where the redbud is growing in real style. So I had to, do you understand coppicing? Yeah, so I take care, I tend those plants down there too so that they put out straighter sticks, and that way I can get better cordage. And I have a patch of watercress that I brought in from Robin. Does anyone know Olala Farm?
Yeah.
Olala Farms is, they've been in here for 40 years, and they've been helping heal the community with herbs and food and all kinds of different stuff. But they were growing out for a restaurant in town, Three Forks. They were growing the watercress because they have running water going through the middle of their property. Well, it's not the middle of our property, but we have running water. So I brought some plugs or some just home. If you put it in a glass on your windowsill and just take the scissors and eat little bits of it, it's so good for you, but it'll grow roots while it sits in the cup. And then you can just go put that in your little water spot. And if you live in a hood and you have maybe get a little pump that you could just keep running water through, you could grow it right there. You could grow it on your windowsill inside, and it'll just keep producing itself. But it goes to seed 2 times a year, and it's just finishing seeding right now, and I haven't been gathering the seed from that because I want it to multiply itself down our part of the watershed and further. So next year I'm going to start getting seed from that if it holds. It's already held 2 winters, or all last winter, all spring, those crazy rains coming through. So I think it'll make it till next year, and then I'll start getting some seed from that. But watercress is so good for you. And it's a native, and it used to grow here all the time. This one